Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got the tank review for the brand new independent Era 1 premium light tank, the Catman, which is part of the new Kiss Metal Fest collaboration. Now if you did like the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below, as it really does help out the channel. And yes, the Catman. It is a mercenary tank in the independent nation. It's a WZ-132 hull with the turret of an M42 Duster and the same gun. In the way that you do damage, it works very, very similarly to the FV-107 Scimitar, and it's just the fact that it's just a little bit slower and has probably a bit more armour, but if we all know what the FV-107's like, that thing doesn't have any armour but seems to bounce shots anyway. What's it like as a tank? Well, it's not the greatest tank in the universe, to be honest. I think most people will struggle with it and will really not be able to get much out of it because it racks up damage fairly quickly, but trying to consistently get that damage can be a royal pain. And the other problem is that it struggles to fight back against quite a few vehicles. And there's quite a lot of tanks, especially in Era 1, like the light tanks, even a Char 40T or a Char 25T, that can travel faster than you and will run you down and gun you down too. So it really does struggle quite a bit, this vehicle. It doesn't mean you can't do anything, and you'll see that in the replays. You can definitely do stuff, but it takes a lot to get the most out of this vehicle, and it can be a royal pain, especially when you have a tank decide that you're going to die. If a tank decides you're going to die, you are going to die. And if FV-107 YOLOs you, there's not much surviving in FV-107 because it will shred you, and most of the time, you will get matched up against them. So that's definitely a bit of a problem. And realistically, the other thing is, if you wanted to experience the gameplay for this tank and the way it plays and you think it looks fun, you could just get the FV-107 from the tech tree completely for free by just grinding it, which it doesn't take very long at all to get to in Era 1 anyway. So, yeah, there is that going against it as well. I'd say that one of the other three are definitely the ones you want to pick up, not this vehicle, but hey-ho, that's that. Let's get into the statistics of the Catman. So the Catman has a 65 km/h top speed, 23 km/h reverse speed, 450 horsepower engine, which is 23.49 horsepower per ton ratio. So it does get to that 65 km/h top speed fairly easily. You run the traction system because you definitely want the extra speed, and you will get up to 71 km/h. Has absolutely no problem in that regard. Ground resistances are incredible. They do not hold you back whatsoever. 12% internal fire chances on the low end of fire chances as well. It doesn't really get set on fire that often in my experience, so that's decent. 48 degrees a second on the hull rotation means it does turn very quickly on its tracks. But you have a 40 degree a second turret rotation speed, which is slower than the tracks, which could be a bit frustrating. To be honest, I still help the hull rotation of this tank with clutch braking and with the traction system as well, so that we can get way better track traverse, just so that we can try and feel somewhat nimble. Because like I say, if we're not out traversing a lot of the other light vehicles, they just do you for speed very, very easily. So we want to try and be able to outmaneuver them if we can. We've got 250 meters of still concealment, same as on the move concealment, because light tanks have the same on the move concealment as they do still concealment, and that's not too bad. You'll get it down to a decent level, and you really want to focus on getting the camo down as low as possible as well for this vehicle, because it's an asset for the tank, and as you might see in one or two of the replays, it's nice to be able to do it, because sure, you might be going, well, there's true vision, they'll see you anyway. But a lot of people, especially in Era 1, will only really focus on the vehicles that are actually spotted. And so it will take them time to be able to track you down. And the moment that they finally get to the point where they might actually be able to see you and shoot you with true vision, you can go, okay, they know where I am, and run away, and you won't take a hit. Whereas if you don't focus on the camo, you get spotted when you fire, the likelihood is they'll go, oh, tank, RBRT, snap, hit you. And you're a massive target, so you're incredibly easy to hit and incredibly easy to take out. So, yeah, you want to kind of focus on the camo a bit for this vehicle. 520 meters of view range is good enough. You'll spot for yourself very, very, very well in the Catman, which is great, and it really helps you to be a bit more of a scout. You've got 40 degrees a second on the turret traverse, like I say, which is slower than the tracks. I help it out rapid aim to get it better. 0.96 accuracy during rotation and a 2.34 accuracy during movement isn't that great, and it means the aim circle does bloom out quite a bit. But with a 1.7 second aim time, it aims in incredibly quickly. But to be honest, if you run if you run at least 2 of the gun perks, and then you also run the gun stabilizer, you get the 2.34 accuracy during movement and the 0.96 accuracy during rotation down to a very good level anyway, and the aim circle barely moves. And then when you have to aim, it's 1.7 second aim time. It aims very, very quickly. 5 degrees of gun depression is also a bit of pain for the Catman. It means you really do struggle depending on the ridgeline you're on, and quite a few times, because the tank is quite tall, you can struggle to get the gun down on target to be able to fire the shots. You've got 0.3 accuracy at 100 meters as well, which means this tank is pretty accurate once it gets going, so that's quite good for it indeed. And you've got the 40mm dual automatic gun M3, which has a 5.3 second reload, with 8 shots in the auto-loading clip that fire in 0.25 seconds on the intra clip, which, like I say, is very, very similar to the FV107 scimitar in the way it does the damage. It goes boom, 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 boom. And if you've played the M42 Duster, the gun acts exactly the same. So you know what this gun is going to be doing if you've played the Duster as well, which a lot of people did get. You got that 3.4k DPM if you do get to hit the shots, because 5.3 second reload is fast for the clip. 3.4k DPM, it means that it can rack up damage very, very quickly, and it does. If you manage to hit and pen the shots, it racks up damage incredibly quickly. But penning the shots a lot of the time is a bit difficult, because you have 140 pen on the standard APDS rounds, 190 pen on the premium APFSDS rounds, and 40mm of penetration on the HE. You're never going to take the HE. It's just, there's no point. You very rarely get the opportunity to actually pen that HE, so I don't take it. I just take the full APDS and APFSDS. But yeah, your penetration is low, and there's quite a few vehicles you will really struggle to actually go through, which can be a pure pain, and you really have to be around the sides of rear of vehicles to be able to actually get the damage, to be honest. And the moment you start shooting them in the side or rear, they do turn around, and a lot of vehicles in this era have very quick track traverse, so they turn around very quickly and your damage can be limited. What this tank wants to be doing if it's racking up damage is playing those flanking manoeuvres, getting behind the enemy team before they realise what's going off, dropping clips left, right and centre, and taking advantage of either chaos or tanks that are distracted with what's going off in front of them. That's what this tank has to do. It has to take advantage of those two things, because if you become the focus of people's attention, they kill you very, very easily. It's very easy to take out the Catman. Very, very easy indeed. So yeah, you've got that 140 pen on the standard APDS, 190 on the premium FSDS, 1,105 meters a second shot velocity on the standard APDS, 1,360 on the premium APFSDS, which 1,360 velocity is very, very good. That is very nice. You're above average on the standard APDS, but you will feel the difference between the two rounds. If you load the premium, you'll notice that that velocity is that little bit nicer indeed. And as you are a premium tank, you do have a 155% silver earn rate, which means you do make pretty decent silver if you're not having to fight the premium, and 120% Commander XP earn rate, which means it does actually make good crew training as well. It's a pretty decent crew trainer, this vehicle. So, in terms of the modules on this tank, the engine blocks are there. The engine has been damaged quite a few times in this vehicle, because if you take a hit in the front, the engine's going to get damaged, and if you take a hit in the rear, your engine's going to get damaged. That can be a bit annoying indeed, but I haven't really been set on fire through the engine, so that's okay. That's where the ammo racks are on the Catman, so do be careful of that. If you take a hit through either of the drive wheels, the likelihood is you're going to get damage on your ammo rack. You might pop your lid, all that good stuff. HE also doesn't... This tank doesn't do very well against HE, and the reason for that as well is the fact that you've got an open top turret, and HE generally splashes very hard against open top turrets and tends to mean that these tanks get wrecked very, very easily. And that's where the crew sits in the Catman as well. In terms of the armour, you have none. It's a light tank. You don't ever want to rely on this armour. But 50mm of armour on the front that is really well sloped, if you shoot this thing at that kind of angle and you ricochet and you sit there going, it's a light tank, it's got no armour, I should pen that. Well, no, because it's still very well angled, so if you hit it at a stupid angle, you will still get some lucky bouncers on the Catman. It's just one of those things, because angles are a thing. That's why Batchats bounce, or Char 25Ts. They bounce shots that you sit there going, they've got no armour, how I'm bouncing that? Because they do have auto ricochet type angles and just really well sloped armour that can get you some lovely ricochets. But don't ever rely on it, because it's a light tank and it's going to get absolutely wrecked. So yeah. In terms of a crew, well, I'm wasting gold because I've stuck it in the FV107, but let's go stick it into the Catman. And I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, 6th Sense, Steady Aim, Run and Gun, Clutch Braking, Camouflage Expertise, Muffled Shot, and Rapid Aim. Rapid Aim to try and combat Clutch Braking, because I'm running Clutch Braking and traction system, so the track traverse has got way, way, way better. And the turret traverse is already slower than the tracks, so I've run Rapid Aim to get that turret traverse to be as good as humanly possible. Camouflage Expertise and Muffled Shot get my camo better and to reduce the effect of firing on my camo, so that again when I'm playing those sneaky flanking positions and I want to keep firing at people without ever getting spotted, it's reducing the effect of firing on my camo so that I'm not getting spotted when I am trying to rack up that damage pretty quickly. Because it's one of those tanks that doesn't really do much damage when it does pen the shots. People tend to ignore it, and before they know it, they go, wait, my hit points are disappearing really quickly. So then they start to react to you after you put the second or third clip in. So it's nice to stay on spotted so that you're not instantly going, hey, I'm here, and they instantly snap you. Clutch braking, like I said earlier on, just to get the track traverse way better so that I can feel really nimble on the tracks. Steady aim and run and gun to get the general accuracy of the vehicle to be better, and the accuracy during movement to get down as low as possible as well, so that this aim circle isn't that big, and I can hit shots on the move, I can hit shots while stationary, and just make the general gun accuracy that little bit nicer. And then in terms of equipment, I do run smoke so that I can pop smoke and run away where I need to, but also the passive boost for the camo. And I run the camo net, the gun stabilizer, and traction system. Traction system for the extra top speed, but also the extra track traverse. The gun stabilizers, again, get that accuracy during rotation and movement down as low as possible because it's not the best in the universe, meaning, again, I can hit shots on the move pretty easily while also making it so that it doesn't take long to get the gun aimed in when I do stop. And the camo net to get the best out of the camo, once again, like I've said previously, just so that I don't instantly get spotted when I do start firing at people, and thus I can keep farming without them RBRTing me. Again, if you really wanted to, you could drop the gun stabilizer to run the powertrain, because if you were to run the powertrain instead of the gun stabilizer, as you see, you get up to 75 kilometers an hour. But I just like having the extra gun handling, and to be honest, even at 75 kilometers an hour, a lot of the vehicles that will kill you, like Mr. FV107 over here, that will absolutely run and gun you down very easily, have 105 kilometers an hour, so your top speed, having that extra 4 doesn't help you whatsoever. It's just nicer to have the gun handling to be able to hit them more often, but yeah, that's my personal preference, but it's really down to you and how you want to kit out the vehicle. So let's have a look at the statistics now. It's fully kitted out. As you can see, we've got a 71.5 km an hour top speed, 25.3 km an hour reverse speed, 450 horsepower engine, which is 23.49 horsepower per ton ratio, which means that, again, incredibly quick to get up to that top speed, 71 km an hour, fantastic. Terrain resistances, fantastic. 57.16 degrees a second on the hull rotation speed means it's very, very quick to turn its tracks now, which is lovely. 542 meters of view range means you spot yourself very, very well. 130 meters of still concealment, same as on the move concealment, is fantastic as well. It means it's really hard to actually spot this vehicle unless it's quite close to be able to see it. You got 46.31 degrees a second on the turret rotation speed, so that's a lot faster now than it was. 0.65 accuracy during rotation with a 1.56 accuracy during movement means that the aim circle doesn't bloom out much at all and is lovely, and you've got a 1.63 second aim time as well to go along with it, which means it aims in very quickly as well. With a 0.26 accuracy at 100 meters now, you are extremely accurate, which is lovely, and you've got a 4.52 second reload on the Catman, which means that it does reload really quickly when you have dumped the clip, and again, it helps it just to be able to rack up that damage really, really quickly here in the Catman. But yeah, that's the Catman statistics. That's what I'd run. Like I say, genuinely, if you want to be able to play the vehicle or play how the tank plays, just go get a scimitar. Go get this thing from the tech tree for free, and you'll have probably a far better experience generally than you'll have in the Catman on average, and you'll do damage just as easily and have just as much fun, because as you see, it reloads just as fast, it's just as accurate, the gun handling is just as good, if not better. The reload's better. The mobility on it is incredible. You've got same view range. The camo's good, which you can get down even more. And this is free to grind in the tech tree. You've just got 2 less shots in your clip. But that's without a crew as well in the scimitar. Just putting that out there, that the statistics of the scimitar are extremely close, if not better in some regards, than the Catman without a crew. So yeah, that's why I'm saying, if you want to experience the Catman, just go get the scimitar for free out the tech tree. But that's the PSA. So without further ado, what I'm going to do is send you into the replays where you can watch the Catman in action, see how it handles, see if it's a bit of you or not, or just see if you think, nah, you know what, I will try and pick up the scimitar. So as always, everybody, I will see you in the replays. So here we are in the replays with the Catman, and this first game is here on this map, which is Severagorsk. And on Severagorsk, well, this map isn't really the best map in the universe for the Catman, because it's just corridors, and this tank doesn't do very well with corridory maps, because you really want to be able to flank up behind people, get shots into sides and rears, and do it from a distance as well, where people are going to struggle to be able to find you, because like I say, it's one of those tanks that as soon as people see you, they tend to just RBRT you, and a lot of the time they will hit you very, very easily. If you don't know what I mean by RBRT, it's just the short for auto aim and fire. And it tends to happen, and because this vehicle is quite a big tank, it's quite easy to hit. So people don't really struggle in that regard either, which can be a bit of a pain for the Catman in that regard. So we're at the spearhead of our team pushing forwards. I've looked over the far distance and I couldn't really see anyone, so I decided, you know what, I'm going to go push over and try and get some shots into this Centurion too. And then when my team, which is majority of them on this 3 line, smash into their team, I can try and get up behind them and just unnerve them, get free shots into the rear, you know, not be the focus of their attention. So we're just trying to get some shots into the STA-3's turret. We're already up to 884 damage so far from getting a couple of shots into that Centurion. Type 773 shuts down our T-44A, but he's also the perfect kind of target for this tank because it's basically got no armor. It's one of those tanks that if you can get a couple of shots in, and the moment someone starts to look at you, just run away. That's kind of what you want to do, or back off. That's definitely what you want to be doing in this vehicle, so that you're not getting absolutely done in. So we're trying to get some shots into the FV101, but that doesn't quite work out. We look behind us and see, oh boy, that's the 430 and something else coming up behind us. Can't really do much against those guys, so you know what? We're going to go enact our plan straight away as quick as possible, try and get up behind the enemy team and get some damage very, very quickly. So we're just getting some cheeky shots into the Type 773 in the hope that he doesn't hit us, which he doesn't. Keeping an eye on what's going off behind us as well. I decide, okay, I'm going to take a hit from that 773 and I'm going to go after Mr. STA-3 to get rid of him. But the one thing that this tank is good at, ramming little light tanks like that guy. So the FV101 actually drove straight into us, feeding us a load of damage. He can't actually pens with his HE, so we're just trying to keep him from using the one thing that he is far better at than us at, and that is his mobility. Because if he uses his mobility, he's going to get away from us. But at that close range, we can't RBRT him. As you saw, the ricochets go straight off of his hull. Bit of a problem for us there in that regard. We should have just aimed it properly. But now we're getting shot at by an FV107, which is the scimitar. I'm pretty sure it's a 107 anyway. It's either that or it's another Catman. And we'd popped smoke to get safe from the guys that were coming along the 4-5 line. And we just managed to get behind the smoke where that guy couldn't even see us either. So we see the Charioteer, again, another perfect target. We get a couple of shots in. I thought he was going to just lock on to shoot us. I didn't really want to take the hit. So we backed off and missed a couple of the shots, and it was an FV107 in the end. So we're up to 2.9k damage with 900, make that 1,083 assistance. We're going to try and get some shots into this guy as well as he's on the move. That camera shake is a little bit too much for me in the Catman. It really does shake up and down. It's a bit of a pain. But there we go. But yeah, the one thing that is a bit of a struggle for this tank is because of the way it fires, it can be a bit of a struggle to be able to actually lead targets correctly in this tank. So you'll find they end up hitting 1 or 2 shots, but miss a load of them because you're having to constantly readjust your fire. So I'm trying to get some shots into the TVP here, who is distracted with the tank that had dropped down the ridge, but we have to back off after getting a couple of shots in there. We see the Type 773. I didn't expect that guy to appear out of nowhere. And sadly for us, the Type 773 shuts us down. It's the same Type 773 from earlier on. And we finished the game with the 2 kills, 3.4k damage, 1,083 assistance with that 721 base XP. Fairly average game for the Catman there. And that was the kind of game that it's really not good for it. Where you got those corridors. You struggle in the corridors to be able to get the damage you want. And then your team sort of collapses, which means you can't really affect the game quite how you want to. So we're on to the second replay, and this second replay we're here on this map, which is Siegfried Line. And on Siegfried Line, what I'm trying to do is go to the position here at E5, because I can go here and then spot the people that sit at the back at K5. I can also go forward like this, see where the tanks are that I want to shoot, and then farm away. Now, tanks like a 4005 are the wet dream of the Catman because you can pull forward and you can pen them relentlessly because they are very easy to pen. You just get occasional unlucky ricochets off the turret, but they are the kind of tank that you shoot at, and yeah, like I say, you watch your damage in the corner, it just racks up very, very quickly. You sit there going, oh, nice. I didn't expect to get that much out of that, but nice, we'll take it. And that's just the nice thing about the Catman when you are racking up that damage, is that it does just rack up really fast. It's just a problem that it is very awkward in trying to actually be able to get that damage. As you've seen so far in this game, we're up to 400 damage so far. We have fired quite a few rounds already. We got most of that damage on the 4005 that crossed into the position at G6. And we got a couple of shots into the side of the M48 pattern that was hiding behind the little ridgeline. So I've seen the 4005. I was pretty sure that he'd fired, so I wanted to try and get up there, get a couple of shots into him, maybe get to clip him out, but he got back just in time. So with the T44 side on, I'm not going to turn down the opportunity to get a little bit more damage on that guy. And then we pull back. We pop smoke so that we don't take a hit from, I think it's a 268 we saw at the back, or anyone else like the M48 pattern, because I did see a tank sat on that back little ledge. So we're just being essentially as careful as possible, which is why I like having the smoke on the Catman, because you can just go, okay, I'm just going to pop smoke now. And there's the tank that I saw in third person. We're just trying to get some shots into that 268, but 140 pen is just not going to go through the front of a 268. To be honest, it's never going to go through. So I went for some tracking shots. It doesn't work out. I load the premium for 190 pen, and once again, we're going to go for it to see if we can get any sort of penetration on that dude. But it's just not working out. And I mean, at this range, for 190, we actually have 167 pen when we're shooting at the 268 in the distance, because there is penetration over distance drop off. And at 500 meters, you only have 125 pen on the standard AP DS rounds and 167 penetration on the premium APFS DS. So yeah, it's a bit awkward. So we see the 430U. We managed to dodge out of the way of the 430U. And we're just trying to get some shots into his side, which we managed to get quite a bit of damage there into his side and got out of dodge. There's no point taking on the 430U in that regard, because in that little corridor, it's easier for him to turn his armor to us. We can't pen him in the front, really, no matter what. We have to get his side. So we were going to wait for him to get distracted with everyone else, and then we can go back to where we came from, get up alongside him, and then dump the shells into the side armor where we can get the damage as well. We're up to 1765 damage so far with 1437 assistance damage, and there's only 4 tanks left on the enemy team. There's 2 medium tanks, the light tank, and the TD. So we know where the TD is. He's up on that little hill. The light tank's just got spotted at A4. The medium tank is the M48 pattern that was over here with that 268 as well, and another medium tank's been spotted at F5. So we're just going to maneuver to get into a position where we can spot the 268, which is what we're doing. We're getting assistance damage for spotting that 268, and we can go after the M48 pattern in the rear, get around him, and just, again, run interference. If this guy decides he wants to try and shoot me, he's probably going to have to turn around and give himself up for everyone else. So thankfully, the M48 pattern misses his shot. I move behind the bunker so that I'm not taking hits from the FV107 that's coming after us. We get after the 268 now, which doesn't have a turret, which means it's easy pickings, right, to get after. But once again, I'm still dodging the shots from the FV107. So I'll pop smoke, because that smoke over there is supposed to dissipate at some point soon. And so the 268 is going to be able to shoot us. The 107 gets shut down by 4005. Nice shot, 4005. That's quite impressive. We go for the tracking shot on the 268 so he couldn't turn after us, but we don't get any more damage into the side of that 268, sadly, and he gets shut down by the 107 from the distance, and we finish with the epic victory. The top of the team, actually, 1 kill, 3004 damage with the 1530 base XP, and we actually got the 3027 assistance as well, so 6k combined. Really good game there for the Catman. But in terms of the damage, and again, that was just one of those games where you can see a bit of the awkwardness and how much we had to force ourselves to get into a place to be able to actually do anything. And even then, what we did wasn't really that much. Yes, we got spotting, but that's the job of the scout generally, right? But we got a decent amount of damage as well, but we had to do a lot to get just 3,000 damage, which for Era 1 you can get a lot more quite easily in a lot of other tanks. And like I say, in something like the FV107, you can get that sort of damage quite easily anyway as well. So you can just get the FV107 from the tech tree for free to be able to do the same thing. So now we're on to the third replay, and this third replay, we're here on this map, which is Swamp. And on Swamp, what I'm going to do is go to a position like C8, C7, so that I can cut off anybody that tries to climb up the 9-0 line. I can spot them up for my team, which a lot of people do go this way on Swamp. It's just like Duckler Pass. A lot of people tend to go down the C line, then down the 9 line. So if anyone does go up the 9-0, I will be spotting them. I'll be getting assistance damage from them as they take hits, and I'll also be getting free shots into their side. So I'm just trying to see if I can see anything, and then use True Vision to see if I can spot anything that likes to camp on the little ledges over here. We see the tank that we were trying to shoot at, and oh, it's a 4005. Glorious scenes. Do have to be careful, because naturally the way that this thing fires, it's quite easy to track the shell traces and find exactly and pinpoint where this tank is firing from. But that's why I say having the camo is great, because that guy hasn't seen me firing at him. He's had to use true vision, and we're firing through bushes and all sorts, which does make it difficult for him to be able to actually find us, track down where the shell traces are coming from, and get a shot into us. If we'd been firing at him, we hadn't set up for camo, we'd have got spotted from doing this, and then he'd have been able to go, oh look, snap, RB, RT. Well, it takes a while for a 4005 to get the turret on target, but you get my point. He'd have been able to go RB, his turret gets locked on target, and then just smashed us. Whereas we didn't have to worry about that whatsoever. So we're going to close in now on the one light tank in Era 1 that is just going to get absolutely destroyed by us. It's the Port Chaffee. The Port Chaffee gets wrecked by pretty much everything, though. And we actually find a Char 40T. Mr. Char 40T is, again, another perfect target for us to get shots into if he's reloading. The problem with going against the Char 40T and the Catman is the fact that that thing is so quick and the gun handling can be so good that it's actually very difficult to get away from it. So if that guy's loaded, that is a tank that is horrific to fight against in the Catman. But if you manage to catch it out because it has a pretty long reload, you can just do what we just did there and get rid of them. So we're now pumping shots into Mr. M24 Chaffee, which, like I say, the Port Chaffee is just going to get absolutely trashed by a Catman. But then that tank does get wrecked by pretty much every other light tank in Era 1 as well, which is very, very awkward for it. And we're just going to keep poking forward, dropping the clip, pulling back. And he's making it as easy as possible for us as well, and we shut down Mr. Chaffee. I get the feeling that that guy didn't really know what was going off. We're up to 3,024 damage of 743 assistance, and we're now moving to get some shots into the guys that are across the way. So that M24 Chaffee, in that situation there where I was shooting at him, what you should always do is just turn around and run with your rear to me. Because saying an M24 Chaffee is not going to bounce me, whether his front is pointing to me, his side, his rear, etc. So in that sort of situation where you're getting gunned down by something like a Catman or an FV107, just turn so that you get your fastest point going the opposite direction, and just do that. Don't just try and reverse out, because if you reverse out, you're just making it easy, just like we did there with that Chaffee. So the Char 25T is getting pushed by the T95 E3. I really want to help this guy out if I can. So I decide, okay, you know what, I might take a hit or two here, but I'm going to go over, help the Char 25T, and get some shots into the T95 E3 there to finish him off. We see the M103's been looking at us, though. We tried to get him in the side there with some shots on the move, but all of the shots sadly actually bounced on his side. And we try and get some blind fire there into the smoke where we last saw that vehicle. But we're not going to do much from that position. What I want to do is get into a position where I've got a sight line up the 2-3, and this is what's in my brain, because, well, we snuck up behind the T-34, so hopefully we can get rid of the T-34, but, well, sadly we bounced one shot, so we don't manage to do it. But good night, Mr. T-34. I want to get into a position up here, near the little Castley Abbey effort, because then I should be able to get shots down the 2-3 line and be able to see people and finish them off. So we get the shots in to shut down the Tyran 5. Can't pen M103A1 really anywhere from the front. I was just trying to see if I could pen the cupola maybe, but I need to be able to actually see the side of the M103 to be able to kill him. Can't see the Catman, but yeah, we're in a position where maybe we might be able to get extra shots in. We get spotted when we fire there at the M103. I should really have been looking to try and get shots into that medium tank there, which is an Object 430U. So I do move into a better position to get shots into Mr. 430U, but he is actually pointing our way. The M103 is still preoccupied with me as well, so he's still aiming my way to try and see if he can see me. So we're just going to ignore that guy and go after the Tyran 5SH, who is, again, distracted by the guys at E3. What you always want to be doing in this vehicle is going for tanks that are distracted, because they'll never come and focus you, and that's what you want to be doing. So we get a couple more shots into the side of that guy because he's fully distracted, but the opposition Catman is coming for us. So we get a couple of shots into him. The M103 is coming over, so you know what, I'm just going to ignore the M103, go finish off the Catman, which we do, securing our 6th kill of this game. We bounced an M10305 Butox. Our shiny metal Butox bounced an M1. I'm not quite sure how that happened, but sure, we'll take it. And now we're up alongside the M103. That little love tap means that we're now a one-shot for him, which makes this very awkward. And I decided, okay, I'm going to be cheeky. Back in front of his gun. He did not expect that whatsoever. And thankfully, he didn't hit us. We managed to get a couple more shots in, and he gets finished off by the T95E3. I love doing that. That cheeky little maneuver where you think, will they expect me to just drive in front of their gun? And then they don't hit you, and you go, ha, gotcha. We finished with the 6 kills, 5.5k damage, 743 assistance, the ace tank and the top gun, with the 1857 base XP. A really nice game there for the Catman, which, like I say, it means you can do stuff. You can have good games in this vehicle, but it just takes a lot to get the most out of it, and a lot of people will struggle with the playstyle of this tank to be able to even do anything, especially if you're used to playing the FV107 and you see the Catman and go, oh, that's like my FV107. Well, it does what the FV107 does, but a lot worse, you know, just because. And I think it's just because the fact that the FV107 is a lot smaller, so it's a lot harder to hit. The FV107 just manages to magic bounce things at times as well. And you can go 105 kilometers an hour in an FV107, whereas this is 71 kilometers an hour or 75, or maybe even 78 or 79 at max if you were to take fuel as well, right? So we're on a map that's probably not the best for this tank, which is Ruinberg. And on Ruinberg, what I'm trying to do from this middle ridge is just try and get cheeky shots in. But there's quite a few light tanks with us in this game. So if I can try and make the most of the havoc caused by the faster light tanks, that's what we're going to do. We're going to play the assassin and try and, again, make the most of the havoc that these guys are causing. So we see the FV107. Once again, this tank is great. And I mean great at ramming those things, because we're actually quite a heavy light tank, whereas they aren't. So if you can get into, and a lot of the drivers of FV107, 101s as well, do that sort of thing, where they're focused on another target. If you can get into their driving line and just let them ram into you, or you can ram them at full pelt, you'll stop them dead, make them easier to kill, and also do a lot of damage to them. So we see the FV101. Oh, we just rammed it. Oh, yeah. Get out of the game, FV101. And memes. If you can have those sorts of memes, it's what you're going to be doing in the Catman. And we're up to 2,223 damage. We've got the side of the 430U. And get a load of shots into his side there. But we see exactly what our light tanks are currently doing. Face hooking at 4,000. I can't say that that's going to end well. 183mm of pain staring at a small, tiny FV. Yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen. That looked painful. Yeah, that's never going to go well. But we're going to make the most, again, of the distraction that is being caused by this chaos. And I'm going to focus out this FV101. Because, again, the FV101 is just a little pest, and we want to get rid of this guy because he is the danger to us. Whereas the slower tanks are the ones that we can try and murder, like Mr. Taram 5SH here. So I can't really pen the front of a Taram 5SH, so I shouldn't have really taken those shots. But with having his side and rear here, this is easier to pen on this guy, and we get a load more shots there into his side. Maybe able to pick up the kill, but actually the FV107s managed to do that themselves. We see the RU251 try and hit a load of shots on the move, but miss quite a few of those shots, and the RU251 gets shut down by the FV107. Because like I said, the FV107's gun handling is generally far better than ours, so that it actually hits the shots on the move easier. But there's 6 tanks left on the team. 6 tanks on our team. They're in the cap, capping away. We know where all of their team is. We need to reset the cap, otherwise we lose. So what I'm aiming for here is modules. I'm quite literally just aiming to shoot every single tank I can possibly shoot in that cap, and at least pen them or do track damage. Because if you want to reset a cap, you have to do module damage or real damage. So we are, again, just shooting at them with no real hope of truly penning them and just doing the module damage, because we need to keep resetting. It's no good in this sort of situation of just shooting the same tank over and over again, because every tank in that cap will have cap points. So you need to keep resetting lots of different tanks to be able to keep resetting the cap to make sure that they aren't going to cap in this sort of situation. Because, yeah, there's so many games I've seen lost by people, say, just seeing this 430U, for example, and shooting the 430U and only the 430U, and then sit there going, well, why did we end up losing anyway? I was resetting the cap. Because there was 3 other people in the cap that were gaining cap points instead. They needed to be the ones that got reset. So we're going after the T-44 now. We know that we're probably going to win this. We take a hit from the 430U. The RU comes out, so we hit a load of shots into the RU on the move. And I need to lock on to Mr. T-44 here and just keep moving to make it as difficult as possible for them to be able to hit me, especially with the 430U having poor shell velocity. It's going to be very difficult for that guy to even hit me. And with the T-44 trying to hit me on the move with his 122mm gun, he's also using the more inaccurate gun. Again, making it very difficult for him to be able to get the shot into me while I'm using my 71 kilometers an hour top speed. So we get up alongside the T-44. Unfortunately, bounce a couple of shots so we don't quite kill him. But we should do before we cap, because we are capping. And we finished the game there with the victory. A really nice game and a map that's not the best for the Catman in the universe. It's just not the best map in the universe for it. But again, we managed to make the most of the chaos that ensued in that map. And we finished with 5 kills, the 6.2k damage, first class, the Confederate, the Defender medal with the high caliber, 1730 base XP. Really nice game there for the Catman on Ruinberg, which, like I say, is a tank that's not the best tank in the universe, to be perfectly honest. There's a far better option in the tech tree you can get for free. But some people might enjoy it. It just takes a lot to get the most out of this tank. It really, really does. So as always, everybody, that's the Catman. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
A great success!